Good morning. Good morning. Um, right, okay, what are we doing today? I have been up the shops, and while I was walking up there, I had this bizarre thought. I tend to do that. And it occurred to me that I'm always showing you great things. I'm showing you driving across Germany or Holland, or I'm showing you the shops. And I thought, in centuries to come, historians are going to look at the record that we make and we place on YouTube, and they're going to think they had a wonderful life. It was always sunny, they were always mowing grass with friends, they were always making goofy carts and playing with their train sets. And they're going to say they must have been a dirty, stinky lot because they never cleaned the toilet. So, just for the record, just for the historical accuracy of this YouTube channel, this morning I cleaned the toilet. I didn't make a video of it. It's not something that I felt the need to share, but just for the record, I did. Don't want to use it now. It's all nice and clean and sparkly and, oh dear, oh well. Anyway, what am I going to do today? One thing that I want to do is, last week I walked into a charity shop and I walked out with this. Now, this was ridiculously cheap, which is why I walked out with it, and it's a made in China. And people will say, oh goodness, they're a load of rubbish. Well, no, actually they're not. And I've been sort of plinking with it. And it sounds all right. Everything is there with it. Nothing broken, and it's hardly been played. I've been looking at the fretboard, and my instinct says that somebody bought this guitar very cheaply. I don't know, this would have probably been £60, something like that, and they got home and they pulled strings, and they didn't play like Eric Clapton, and they probably put it away and they never touched it again, which is a shame. Now, I've been sort of plinking away at it, and it's actually a very difficult guitar to play as it is set up. Time I've used my big fat fingers on it, I can't accurately fret chords because it hasn't been set up. Now, in a moment I'm going to go into the other room where I've got better light, and I'm going to show you what I mean by it hasn't been set up. Follow me. Oh goodness, what's he been doing now? Hand cutting oak? Yep, okay, got to be done, someone's got to do it. Let me just quickly clear a little bit of space. Well, I'm assuming a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I'm assuming quite a few of you know a lot more about it than I do. But some of you out there haven't got the first idea, which is why guitars like this end up being sold at charity shops for very, very little. Because people buy them, they don't play, and they get fed up with them and they take them to charity shops, and I buy them. Right. Do we all know that that end of the fretboard is called the nut? And do we all know that somewhere around about down here is the 12th fret? Fret. Yeah, we've got a fret, a nuclear warp. No, fret. And the height of the string from the fret is known as the action. And if you've got great big fat fingers like me, you like a very low action. And guitars, when they come out of the factory, they're just sort of put together and someone strums them and they work and the factory's happy. They go to a guitar shop and people buy them, and what they should then do is they should talk to a luthier, not Martin Luther. Oh, talk to him as well, but a luthier. And we should be looking at the height at the 12th fret on this guitar. Look, it's marked with two little dots, and we should look at what that height is. Now, if you're a proper luthier and not just an odd bodge carpenter, you have a proper gauge for this. I'm not going to use that one because it doesn't show too clearly. Let me find one that will show nicely. Right, if we put the stick of inches in there and look very carefully, we will see that that string is way too high. It wants to be something like 3/32. It's out to about 5/32. I say it wants to be because every guitarist will want it slightly differently. I'm going to wind it down to 3/32 and just see what happens. And again, a lot of you know this, guitar necks have to have a certain amount of bow in them, a certain amount, so that when you press a string somewhere up here, the string only touches that fret and it doesn't touch all of the other frets. And if the action is too low, the string will buzz against frets further up the neck. So too low an action, the guitar won't play. Too high an action, and blokes with fingers like mine can't press one string at a time. The way we adjust this type of guitar, in there is an Allen key, a hexagonal Allen key. I happen to know this one's a 4mm one, and if I turn it clockwise to the right, it will tighten the truss rod that goes up the middle of the neck, and it will pull the neck straighter. If I turn it to the left, anti-clockwise, it will loosen the truss rod and allow the neck to bow more than it already is, and it will raise the action. So in a minute, and I've only got one pair of hands, and my hands and Allen keys and things are going to be in the way, so I'm going to do this without showing you, in case I get it wrong. I'm going to wind that round a little bit to the right and see if I can take some of the height out of the action. Some, not all of it. Okay, well, I've wound it down. To about 3.5 30 I would have liked to have wound it down a little bit further, but I'm looking at the frets at the nut end of the neck, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it there just to see how I get along with it. I can always adjust it again later. Of course, what I do need to do now is I need to tune it again. not a big issue. I'll get my electric tuner and give it a go shortly. I have tuned it. Whenever you disturb a guitar, you need to tune it again and probably again as it settles back down into the way I've set it. Instantly it becomes a much nicer instrument to play. Of course, it would help if I could play a guitar. It will always be a cheap guitar, but just by that little remedy, incidentally, I turned the truss rod Allen key 6 turns, and when I say 6 turns, each turn was only a sixth of a turn, so I turned it once. That tightened the truss rod, pulled the neck straighter, lowered the action, and has turned it into a guitar that I can play an A chord on.